Columbia, Tennessee for tomorrow delivery, and everything went pretty good. I just got to get moving, put some miles down. Well, been a while since I've done a talking video, so I'm just gonna take off here and talk about what's been going on. So I've got my headset connected to the camera for audio, so you're not probably hearing the exhaust, and my AC is not working, so I've got the windows down. It's a little hot over here in Texas, so hopefully you're not hearing all the background noise because I can barely hear myself talk. Um, the engine noise is not all that bad. It's just the windows are down and stuff. So, but man, I haven't done a video in a while because I've been so busy, which I suppose is a good thing, but it's just been kind of a little bit, I don't know, just beating me up, I guess. Getting a little burnt out, possibly. I don't know. But the main thing that I have to say is better than I expected is the dispatch service. They have been doing a phenomenal job keeping our trucks loaded with very good paying freight. In fact, I don't think I could do better. In fact, I know I can't do better. In fact, I do a lot worse. It starts to look like I was really dumb for not doing this earlier. But I was convinced that it would not be good. I was convinced it would be a bad situation. They would constantly get us in a bind. They'd piss off our customers, being our brokers, but they haven't been. They've been doing a great job. They're respectful to our customers, the brokers. They don't take cheap freight, but they're very respectful. And so, and that's exactly what you need. And because they're looking at a screen all day and able to send emails all day, they don't have to get desperate to get a truck moved. And so Harrison has been doing the flatbed, Jeff and I, been dispatching Jeff and I. And Oscar, he's the van guy, he's been dispatching our van driver, and it's been pretty good. The one issue I can say, the one negative thing I can say is we're waiting a lot on dispatch, which didn't used to happen when I was dispatching, because I would take 15 minutes to look at the load board and book whatever the hell that I could book just to keep the truck moving. Therefore, we ran a lot of cheap freight just simply because I didn't have time to to send the emails, to negotiate with brokers, and I was always too worried about timing. And I was also very, very good about, when I was dispatching, I was very, very good about pre-booking loads a day, maybe 2, even 3 days in advance. So the driver, why is that guy getting over? Got a slowpoke up here or something? So that that driver had a good schedule, right? So he'd go in, he'd make a delivery, oh, yep, that's why. Yeah, I mean, so I was always more concerned about the driver's schedule than I was about the rate. And, in other words, whatever we could do to make sure that the driver could get in, make his delivery, and then boogie and go pick up and then get out of town. Whereas the dispatchers, they're putting a lot more emphasis on the rate than the time. And I used to think that was a bad idea. I used to have this idea that it doesn't pay to sit and wait. I used to always say that, look, it doesn't pay to sit and wait, because if you sit and wait, now you need a much higher rate than you're ever going to get because you've waited. And I still have to say that's true when you wait multiple days. Because my idea about that was, when you wait multiple days, you have a cost of operation for every owner-operator or small fleet like me. You have a cost of operation that happens daily, whether you haul freight or no freight. Obviously, your cost goes up as you haul freight because you burn more fuel. But the way my driver salary is figured in, we pay hourly. And we pay hourly while the driver's waiting on dispatch in most cases. There's a few cases where we won't, depending on when the clock starts and that sort of thing. But so I was always thinking, well, if I wait around and the driver's charging hourly to be sitting waiting around, I can't. Man, I thought that guy was going to speed up more. So I always kind of erred on the side of make sure we have freight on the trailer, and even if it doesn't pay real well, it's better to keep the truck moving, keep the wheels turning, keep the truck earning, than to have the truck sitting there costing us dollars per day as far as truck and trailer payments, insurance payments, and also driver. So that was always my philosophy. Well, I think that philosophy was flawed, because I'm looking at how the dispatch company's doing it, and at the end of the week, we're making much more money, and the drivers are still making about the same as far as their salary goes. Well, if the company's bringing in more money, and the drivers are still making the same amount of money, our fuel bill is probably very close to the same, except for we've sped up. We're no longer driving slow like we used to be. So we've released the drivers to drive whatever speed they feel that they need to drive to make that delivery on time, which has released the dispatchers to dispatch a little tighter loads, which has also helped with that rate. But I can say, even if I would have done that, and I would still be dispatching all three of us, no, I would not be doing as good a job as they could do. Now, there is some stuff to talk about, that the market has gotten better in the last, this year as opposed to, last year. So I would be doing better than I did last year, because the rates are up about 15, maybe 17 cents a mile over last year in the flatbed space. So, but we're up way more than that. And I'm due for another numbers video, know your numbers video. So maybe at the end of the month I'll go over February and look and see what we did for February. But um, I'm fairly certain the flatbeds are way over, probably 50, 60 cents per mile over what I could do last year. And the rates only make up about 17 of that cents, 17 cents of that. We're probably, so the dispatchers have improved our rates probably 50 cents a mile. Um, all while taking a little bit of headache off me. Now, not all the headache is off me because um, the rate confirmations and the carrier packets still go to my email, and the dispatch service company doesn't have the ability to do, well, they could do the carrier packets. I just haven't set up all the stuff for them to do that. I haven't given them all the authority to do that yet, which is a little scary for me because I would basically have to give them access to my email, which if you have access to a carrier's email, you can change passwords from the FMCSA's website. You can take over that company pretty much. So it's a little scary, and so I haven't done that yet, and I don't really need to do that because it's working fine. So what I have to do is I just have to, when they book a load with a company that we're not set up with, I have to jump on the laptop and do the carrier packet, or Farah has to do it. Now, if you guys, I think I've talked about that before, but a while ago I hired Farah, my sister, to handle some of the back office stuff. So I'm gonna have to slow down a little bit here. So she can also do carrier packets, but she's pretty busy. Her and her husband just had their 7th child, and she's homeschooling all the older kids. She has a small little ranch with milk cows and chickens, so she's pretty busy with taking care of her family and her ranch. And her husband, Caleb, works on my trucks. He owns a small diesel shop back home, and so he does all my maintenance when I'm home, which I'm not home all that often. But so anyway, my point is that she can't dedicate very much time to the company. She's very part-time, and so like today she's off because she had a checkup for the newborn baby, and so anyway, that's still takes my time, and it still is a little bit stressful because I have to be in the middle of something. I'm in the middle of something, and then the dispatcher needs me to do something right away. And then also rate confirmations come to my email. So on rate confirmations, I can forward the rate confirmation to the dispatcher. They can print it out and sign it, and get it over to the driver and get it over to the broker. So that works pretty well, but the carrier packet thing doesn't work so well. Now, we're set up with practically every broker. The problem is that just this morning I had to do another setup packet with XPO. We've done a lot of loads for them. We've worked for them quite often, but we had went 6 months since our last setup. And so we have to do another setup. Now, I think once you go 6 months without hauling a load for them, it times out, so to speak, and you have to do another setup packet. Except for, I'm pretty sure we've worked for them last month. So maybe we booked a load and then it canceled, so we didn't actually complete the load. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure we worked for them last month, so I don't know how that works, but so anyway, there is no end to carrier packets, because even when you think you're set up with all of the brokers that you're ever going to run for, someone times out, or they change from RMIS onboarding system to highway onboarding system, and so they need a new packet, or they change in the reverse from highway to RMIS or my carrier packet, or they get big enough that they have their own packet done through their website, which is also a thing. And so there's no end to packets, setup packets, because these companies constantly change what they're doing, and when they change it, we have to go through and re-sign all the contracts. So, or they just update their contract, meaning they'll put clauses in there to where they can screw the carrier if they want to, and we have to sign the contract. So if they update their contract, they realize that, oh, wait a minute, we haven't been able to sufficiently screw the carriers. Let's change our contracts around. Now all of a sudden, all the carriers have to refill out packets. So I was hoping that, years ago, I thought, oh, it'll be great once we get enough packets done that we won't have to. No, that never happens. So, I mean, it's common that we'll haul a load for a company that doesn't need a packet. Very common. But it's also very common that we'll haul a load with a broker that we've hauled loads for 10 years. No, not 10 years. We haven't been in business 10 years. But you get my point. For years, we've hauled loads for them, but they've changed something, and now we have to redo it. So anyway, that's the only stressful part, which is not as much as it was before. Before, I had to, do all the load planning, check my driver's hours, make sure that they were going to make their delivery on time, then look at the load board, then pick and choose which load's best, then call the broker, negotiate rates, and you end up calling 5 or 6 brokers that have loads posted that are already taken, or they're posted in the wrong city, or they're posted for the wrong date. And all that was taking so much of my time that I couldn't drive. So the dispatch service has taken a lot off my plate. There's still quite a bit on my plate as far as, doing the paperwork. But I'd say 60-70% is now handled by them. And they're doing much better than I did, which is really the thing that I'm kind of pointing out here, is that, I used to be so against dispatch service. And anymore I realize that this industry, I think I've said this before, and it's really negative, and I hate to be negative on the channel, but this industry is just shit, and more shit, and it's always been shit. And so we just have to deal with the shit better than everybody else. And the bottom line is the dispatch service can deal with that better than I can. And maybe the dispatch service is pissing off a lot of our brokers with their, arrogance that say they need a higher rate. I don't know. But if they are, I don't know it, and I don't care. Because brokers have been pissing me off for years. So that's what I mean. Like it's just this industry seems to be like it's a game to see who can give the most shit to the other person. How well do you play the game? And so I don't know. Now we're playing the game better because we have dedicated dispatchers who are really good about giving shit to brokers. Well, I don't know that that's happening. It could be. But anyway, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about flatbed season. We are coming into a market increase for flatbed, which is a seasonal thing. And then we're also seeing some positive signs in 2026 that it could be, even for van and reefer, especially for reefer, those rates are staying up. They didn't really fall after the holiday season. And actually, they might have even increased a little bit. I don't have the rates, the updated rate numbers for you guys, but we are seeing some positive signs now. I think last week we saw van rates went down. They declined some. We are in probably the worst month for van, February. So we kind of expect that, but they're still way stronger than they were last year. So that's an improvement. I'm happy about that. So there's definitely some signs for, there's definitely some things that we can be thankful for. And there's a lot of things that I'm pissed off and mad about. But like I said, I don't like to be negative on the channel, so we'll try to be as positive as we can. And I think things have been going pretty good. This new truck here, It's been running okay. There's some stuff that needs to be addressed, and it's the typical problem we always have is, you know, you have to keep running to make money to pay the bills, but you also have to put the truck in the shop to get all the stuff fixed. And so how do you balance that put the truck in the shop, yet also make money? And so, I've been trying to balance it as best I can, and we got all the serious things fixed. I've got a water sensor that's broken, coolant sensor. It thinks it's 132 degrees. The dash says it's 170. So, and that thing has been screwing up for 2 days. The fan's been stuck on because it was locked on like super hot. So the fan was stuck on, thinking that the engine was overheating. And so I've been getting horrible fuel mileage for the last 2 days. But since I've got the other gauge working, I've just been driving it. I shouldn't have done that, guys. You probably should fix sensors like that when they go out, but sometimes we have to kick the can down the road. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been bothering me. It really chews me up when I have to do that. I like a truck that's working perfectly, and if there's anything wrong, it stresses me out. And so I've been fairly stressed this whole week, and that could be why, because I just know there's not something right. And when I know there's something that's not quite right, it stresses me out. So, but anyway, that's what's been going on. This week, I delivered in Dallas. Then dispatcher got me a load of shingles going up to Nashville. Then Nashville, I deadheaded like 25 miles to pick up a load of racking. I shot a video for that. For tarping and untarping that racking, and I'll be posting that video probably before this video gets posted. But that load was a really hot load as far as rate goes. It was difficult to tarp because it had a bunch of sharp edges, but I did it and I didn't rip anything, which I was pretty shocked about. So I was thankful there. And then so that load went back to Fort Worth, Texas, and then I just loaded in Fort Worth, Texas, coming back out, going to Columbia, Tennessee, which is right there in Nashville again. So I've been going back and forth on this I-30 and I-40, which I don't like because that Dallas-Fort Worth and I-30 is just horrible for traffic and construction. But the rates have been good, and we've been needing good rates, so I said, yeah, let's do it. Anyway, that's what's been going on in my world. We still got a huge list. We accomplished on the truck maintenance side. We still got a huge list. We accomplished a lot of the list while I was in Michigan at Jim's shop. We got brakes done all the way around, so we got fresh brakes on everything, fresh drums, fresh shoes, slack adjusters on every single position. Even S-cams. We changed S-cams as well, except for the steers. The steers didn't need them. And only, I think, 2 of the drives needed them. And we said, let's just do them all. So that was a pretty big bill. Also, I did the drive line. I balanced the drive line. The drive line was horrible. The drive line shop said that was the worst they've ever seen. And they didn't even fix it. They just built a new one from scratch. That's how bad it was. Is that it's going to take us longer to try to balance this one and straighten it, and all the ends and pieces, all the pieces were junk. The only thing that would have been good would have been the tubes, and the tubes were most likely bent. So they're like, why would we even? So they just rebuilt a brand new one from scratch, which was super expensive. But I got a nice, smooth, balanced driveline now, guys, and that driveline will be on this truck for the rest of its life probably. So. That's what happens when you buy super old trucks like this. 2.4 million miles tends to take out drive lines. So, but the good thing is that drive line will be good for at least the next 500,000 miles. And about 500,000 miles, we'll probably want to pull it off and rebalance it and that's probably all it will need. It's just to be rebalanced. But so that sort of thing is gonna, like I had mentioned in one of the other videos, this truck's gonna look like a money pit when we look at this year's repairs and maintenance for this truck. It's going to look like a money pit because we're just doing things that have been neglected for years. Like brake S-cams. Those probably should have been changed years ago, but they didn't get changed, and the bushings were so bad that you just need to change them. And the drive line, and we're going to find some more things too. So we still got a fairly big list. I still need to get an engine overhead done. Need to get that water sensor changed. The torque dampener needs to be changed because it's probably original to the engine, which is not good. Those have to be changed every 500,000 miles. They should be, but no one does it. Little things like that, and I can't think of the whole list, but at this point it's safe and we're rolling and it's running good. And right now the fan's not stuck on, so we're actually getting good fuel mileage, 6.4. That doesn't sound good, but we have a very pretty strong head side wind. It's coming this way at me. I don't know if you can hear that, the wind blowing, but it's pretty significant wind. So 6.4 is probably about as good as we're going to be able to do. Also, this load's not very aerodynamic. It's pretty light. It was only supposed to be 11,000 pounds. I think it might be more than that, but they advertised it at 11,000. So anyway, we're cruising, just doing the flatbed life, guys. I don't know what's going to happen. Today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday, so I'm going to deliver this up there in Nashville area. Nashville's a pretty good market, and so my dispatcher was saying, we're going to find something pretty good up there. The issue I'm having is I don't know what the right move would be to do, because we can just take another good paying rate per mile load for the weekend and finish out a very nice week. This load, when I deliver it tomorrow, I'll be at over 6,200. So whatever we get on top of that 6,200, and normally the dispatcher books something, 1,000 miles or better, he's going to be looking for something in the $2,500 range, maybe $3,000 range. If we get a $3,000 load, we'll be at 9,200 for the week. So I kind of want to keep with that just to have a really strong week. But then on the other hand, I kind of want to go back home because I got all these things that I mentioned, and Caleb, my brother-in-law, he had a big project in his shop, but that's finishing up the end of this week. I need to call him again and make sure he was waiting on a part, so make sure he's going to be done. But if I get a load out of Tennessee going to Utah, deliver on Monday, I could be home Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and get a lot of stuff done, and then take off again Friday. It's going to look like crap on my rate because coming out of the house, I'm going to have to take something for $1.60 or something like that. And so I always hate going home because it's so horrible on the rate. But I could get a lot of work done on the truck, and so I'm favoring that option for that reason. But I just had a very expensive bill up at Michigan with the driveline and all the brakes. And the fan situations today is not a problem. It was 2 days ago for the last 2 days. And if the fan sticks on, so be it. We just get really bad fuel mileage. Kind of tempted just to keep the ball rolling and do another week and just keep putting down some profits because we really need them right now. So I don't know what I'm going to do. And I may not even get the choice. My dispatcher might just book something before I ask him to go one direction or another. So we'll see. But anyway, guys, that's all I want to talk about. Before, when I was doing some of these driving videos, I noticed that the camera is mounted on top of my head, and so it looks like I can't see out the visor. So let me see if I can take the camera off and give you the actual view that I see. Right there, guys, that's lined up with my eyeballs. So I would definitely wouldn't want any. I definitely wouldn't want any bigger of a visor. That's a large of a visor as I'd want. That's a 14-inch drop visor, which is definitely I would prefer about a 12. Um, so, but I can see perfectly fine. It's not an issue. Anyway, that's the end of the video, guys. That's what's going on in my world. Let me know what you guys are doing in the spot market. If you guys are in the flatbed spot market, let me know what you guys are seeing. Are you seeing some good rates? Are you encouraged? Or think right now, it seems like volumes are still low, yet rates are going up, and we don't necessarily know why. It's an odd thing. So the problem when volumes are low is it becomes very difficult to find loads. So oftentimes high volumes are much better than high rates because high volumes will push rates up, and the average rate never shows what is actually true when volumes are high, because when volumes are high they can't find trucks. So I don't know what's going on. That's why I'm asking you guys. What are you guys seeing? Are you guys having trouble booking loads just because of low volumes, but then when you finally get one, the rates are pretty good? Or are you guys struggling just with where you're running, that the rates are just crappy? Like right now, I think the West Coast is still pretty crappy, unless you stay in the West Coast. This truck's not a approved California truck, so I'd have to slide in under the radar if I go to California. So that means the West Coast is kind of difficult to run and stay in the West and avoid half of the West, right? So anyway, let me know what you guys are doing. I'm curious to know.